You ever feel like you're juggling a dozen different problems and each one needs its own complicated fix? It's just exhausting. But what if the biggest questions we have about our purpose, about our pain, what if they all led back to a single, surprisingly simple answer? Well, today we're jumping into an ancient dialogue that says exactly that.
Okay, think about this for a second, because this is the real heart of what we're exploring. Imagine a map where the road to everything you've ever wanted is the exact same road you need to take to get away from everything that's bothering you. It sounds way too simple to be true, doesn't it? Let's see what this old conversation has to tell us.
So let's set the scene. We're in ancient India. A seeker, a guy named Jambukhādaka, goes up to Sāriputta. Now, Sāriputta was one of the Buddha's top disciples, famous for being incredibly wise. And Jambukhādaka, he's full of these huge, fundamental questions that, let's be honest, we all have at some point.
And he starts right at the top, the biggest possible goal. He's not asking about money or fame or just being a little happier. Nope, he's asking about the end of all struggle, the final, unshakable peace. The word for this is nibbāna. You've probably heard it as nirvana, right? But the original Pali word literally means to extinguish or to quench, kind of like blowing out a candle. But the real question is, what is actually being extinguished? So Jambukhādaka just asks him, straight up. It's such a great, simple question. He's heard the term, he knows it's the big goal, but he wants to know what it really is. What is this extinguishment we're all talking about?
And Sāriputta's answer is just, wow. He says, nibbāna isn't some place you go to. It's the absence of something inside you. It's the complete and total end of greed, that constant wanting more. The end of aversion, that pushing away of things you don't like, and the end of delusion, that basic confusion about the way things really are.
And this is the perfect follow-up. Jambukhādaka is a practical guy. He's basically asking, okay, that sounds amazing, but is it just a nice idea, or is there an actual path I can walk? Is there a how-to?
Sāriputta's answer is totally direct. Yes, there is a path. It's called the Noble Eightfold Path. Now, you're going to want to remember this answer. It's pretty important.
So they've talked about the ultimate goal and the way to get there. Now, Jambukhādaka switches gears a bit. He starts asking about the stuff that gets in our way. The fundamental problems of being human. And he starts with the big one, dukkha. Now, this word is often translated as suffering, but it's so much bigger than that. It's not just pain, it's that subtle, constant stress, that feeling that things are never quite right, that deep, underlying unsatisfactoriness with life.
And just like before, he asks for a clear definition. He wants to know, at its core, what is this universal feeling of dukkha that everyone talks about?
And here it is, that same practical question. So is there a way, he asks, to not just run away from this dukkha, but to actually fully understand it? Is there a path for that? What do you think the answer is?
Yep, you guessed it, the exact same answer. The path to the goal of nibbāna is also the path to fully understanding our deepest problem, dukkha. And what's wild is that this pattern, it just keeps going. Next on the list, Jambukhādaka asks about tanha. This is that relentless thirst or craving that keeps the whole cycle of dukkha going. It's the craving for stuff you like, the craving to be someone you're not, even the craving to get rid of things you hate. It's basically the engine of our own unhappiness.
So he asks for the definition, Sāriputta gives it to him, and then, do you know what's coming next? Jambukhādaka asks if there's a path to completely get rid of this endless craving. And for the third time, it's the same answer. Yes, the Noble Eightfold Path. I think we're starting to get the message here. Okay, let's just hit pause for a second and look at what just happened here. Jambukhādaka asked about the highest possible goal and the deepest, most fundamental problems, and the answer, every single time, was exactly the same. So yeah, I think we've all noticed the pattern by now, right? This isn't just a repetitive chat. The repetition is the teaching. It's not a bug, it's the feature. It's designed to drill one incredibly important point into our heads. And this table just lays it all out perfectly. Whether you're asking about the ultimate goal, like nibbāna, extinguishment, or you're asking about the biggest problems, like dukkha, unsatisfactoriness, or tanha, craving, the path to achieve the goal is the path to get rid of the problem. They're not two separate journeys. They are one and the same.
So what is this master key, this single path? Well, it's the Noble Eightfold Path, and it's basically a complete roadmap for how to live.
It covers our wisdom with right view and right intention. It covers our ethics with right speech, right action, and right livelihood. And it covers our mental training with right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. The whole package.
But of course, knowing the map and actually walking the trail are two very different things, aren't they? Jambukhādaka has one last set of questions, and these might be the most relatable ones of all. He gets right down to the nitty-gritty of how hard this journey actually is.
He asks, what's the hardest part of this whole thing? And Sāriputta says that just going forth, just committing to the path, is hard. Okay, Jambukhādaka says, but for someone who's already done that, what's difficult? Sāriputta tells him, finding delight in it is difficult. And for someone who even finds that delight, practicing in line with the teaching is difficult. The point is, the challenge is always changing, always evolving as we grow.
So after laying out all these different challenges, Jambukhādaka asks the million-dollar question, how long does this take? I mean, are we talking about lifetimes here? And Sāriputta's reply is just stunning. It's so simple and so full of hope. He just says, not long.
And that's really what it all comes down to, doesn't it? This ancient conversation tells us there's one single, elegant path that can solve our biggest problems and lead us to our highest goals. But Sāriputta also reminds us that the journey isn't always easy, and the challenges change along the way. So the real question for us, right here, right now, isn't just about the path in theory, it's about the path in practice. So what's your hardest step?